Turn it up loud. This is Grumfo Chaos Boricua and proud. Got kids, got bills, got dreams that still talk back. Spanglish on the table, coffee strong, plan stack. Hey! Laugh at the drama, cry when the song hits home. Island heart beating in a mainland zone. The Boricua Midlife Chronicles. Hey! Stories from the center of the storm. We're still dancing through the plot twist, finding out what 50's really for.
Hello, ¿qué es lo que hay, mi gente? Gracias por estar aquí. Thank you for turning in the debut episode of the Boricua Midlife Chronicles. I am your host, Kevin Dagger. I'm here with my boys. Now, it being the debut episode of this podcast, let me give you a quick rundown of what it's about. Just about a couple of guys talking about life from their perspective, a Boricua perspective, both on and off the island, way past their 40s. So it's just us giving our perspective of different things in life. I am your host, Kevin Dagger, and with me, I have not only my guests, but two men that I consider mi hermano, my brothers from another mother. On my left, I have El Moncho. Moncho, what's going on, bro?
Hey, what's going on? I'm glad to be here. And like you said, bros from another mother, my bros, right here.
Exactly. And on our bottom, if you're watching us on YouTube, I have El George, my brother from another mother. He is on Telemundo. He's on the radio. He's on like 3 different podcasts. He's a film critic. I'm very proud of what he's done, and he is here with us. George, ¿qué está pasando, bro? You're muted, brother.
La puta madre. Hi, thank you very much. Very happy to be here. Thank you for that presentation, man. My brothers, you know what? This is the year that we're gonna meet the 30 years. That, we get 30 years of knowing each other. So I guess we should be around August, something like that, or some.
Yeah, August.
30 years that we know that we met each other. So I'm really happy to be here. I'm really happy to be on your debut. Thank you for inviting me, and I know we're gonna have a great time.
Okay, so a lot of people are probably asking, why are we starting with this topic? And the topic is Bad Bunny, his album Debí Tirar Más Fotos. I should have taken more pictures. It's debuted a year ago. Was released on January 5th, 2025, and we're going to talk about the after effects of it. It's inspiration and it's relevance today, 1 year later. So that's what we're going to be talking about, because this is something that I think everybody has a different perspective on, and us three, we are not in the demographic of Bad Bunny. We don't listen to reggaeton. We don't really. We're not big fans of his. I was not. My knowledge of Bad Bunny was limited to wrestling. To be honest, that was it. Like I didn't like his music, but I could admire what he was doing in wrestling. So I had respect for him, and that, as an artist, as a performer, as a wrestler, as a part-time wrestler. But when this album comes out, it did something not only to myself, but it did something to the culture. The cultural impact that this album had is something to be studied, and it's something that not too many people can say that they've been able to do. So that's what we're going to talk about. So January 5th, 2025. I remember like if it was yesterday, because we're actually recording on Dia de los Reyes. So it's been a year and 1 day. I remember on January 5th, I was recording on George's podcast, Legalmente Nerd. And we were talking about great podcasts in Spanish where they talk about pop culture, movies, reviews, TV series, you name it. It's on that podcast. It came out. It debuted. And George's co-host, he said, when George asked him, hey, what do you think about Bad Bunny's album? He said that it was his best album to date. And I'm like, all right, cool. He's a fan. He's supposed to think that. He's supposed to think that. But what hooked me was the short movie that came out first that had Jacobo Morales. And it's because I had just arrived from Puerto Rico. I went to Puerto Rico to bury my mother. And I spent Christmas in Puerto Rico, something I hadn't done in 15 years. So I'm already coming into this album with a lot of emotion, a lot of nostalgia, right? So when I hear when I see the movie, I see a lot of similarities of things that I actually did see back home, having been off the island for 15 years. So I saw a lot of things and I'm like, damn, this really is happening. So I think the short film was that window, that door to what this album was going to be. So George, when you saw that the short film, what was your first impression?
Okay, yeah, I absolutely loved it the first time, and I watched it a little bit, a couple times after that day. But I remember it hit me it hit me really hard because you have to remember the context of what was happening right there. That was right after the election. Like, election was in November, and Bad Bunny had been a strong part of the election. Like, he was campaigning, openly campaigning for a candidate that usually wouldn't have a lot of chances. Like, he was campaigning for Juan Dalmau, and usually that's the candidate that would never, because he represents the Independence Party in Puerto Rico, which hardly ever gets over 5%. But in the previous election, he got 10%. That was a historic, this big thing. So he was campaigning hard, and a lot of that campaigning, it was about being Puerto Rican. Like, we have to do this because we love Puerto Rico and the way we have to do for Puerto Rico. And that was a message that was touching a lot of people, especially young people. Now, the election went off, the candidate lost, he got second, which again was a historic thing that never happened before. But still, a lot of people were feeling down that he didn't win. Now, another part of the context is that in Puerto Rico, we have been dealing with a lot of the same thing that's happening everywhere else. Gentrification, displacing of our own.
Right.
A lot of places in Puerto Rico, you don't feel like you're in Puerto Rico anymore, especially and some places north, some places in the east. You don't feel like you're in Puerto Rico anymore. You feel like there's something else, something happening to your country, like it's not feeling your country anymore. And then for the third spot of that context is that being Puerto Rican has never been the cool thing. It has never really been in Puerto Rico. In fact, wearing the Puerto Rican flag, expression here, they go, you're wearing the bejuco, which is a TV character that you're always wearing a Puerto Rican shirt with a Puerto Rican flag. So it has never been really cool to be Puerto Rico, to use, that was how do you say that? Like just only one segment of the population.
Mm-hmm.
And suddenly the album comes out. So I'm talking about all those things because all of those things hit, especially on that short film, which is supposed to represent Bad Bunny when he's an old man living in a Puerto Rico that doesn't feel like Puerto Rico anymore, right? So all those things hit homes, and within that context, it really shocked a lot of people. It really like, holy crap, like, this could be our country. But at the same time, it reminds us that the true resistance is not just going to the street to fight. True resistance is like this one part of the movie, and the short movie, when Juanpi and Jacobo Morales find their son, they look at each other, and Juanpi say, "Seguimos aquí."
Seguimos aquí.
Here, and that that kind of became like a war train, like a war cry, like we're still here, seguimos aquí.
Right.
This is still our country. So a small way of resistance is simply just speaking Spanish in our country, like eating the food that we love, like wearing our colors, wearing our symbols, or just a simple act of sitting down and drinking coffee on the butter cup,
and the grain butter cup,
the green butter cup. That's just as simple as just driving around with the music, listening to the music that you love. So that was the really short film, like, hit home. That was the impression.
And the thing is, you don't have to be del barrio to identify and to feel what the short film is trying, the message is trying to convey. El mensaje está cabrón. It's something that, going back to the scene in the bakery, in la panadería, when he says, can I have un quesito? Because he forgot to buy the quesito for the frog. And she goes, oh, would you like a quesito without cheese and all this? And they're like, I just want a traditional quesito. And she's like, you mean regular? Like looking down on him. And that reminded me, because literally a week before, I went to IHOP in Ponce Town. right? I went to
Oh
go have
man.
breakfast with the family, and the first thing I said, I told the waitress that, dame un café, por favor. And she tells me, un café americano. And I looked at her. And my words were, mi amor, I didn't come from Texas to Puerto Rico to drink café americano. Dame un café puertorriqueño si la tiene. You know what I mean? So it's like, so when that happens in the short film, I was like, and I told my wife that happened. It
Right.
literally happened, So at least on the south side of the island, you don't see as much gentrification. It's still pretty preserved, even though, unfortunately, Ponce ya no es Ponce. O sea, Ponce is not the Ponce we grew up with in the 90s and the 2000s. Ponce, unfortunately, has gone through a lot of changes. But it still kind of feels like home, and especially the east part of the island, San Germán, Mayagüez, Aguadilla. Beautiful, beautiful. That part still feels like home. What didn't feel like home was Joyuda. Joyuda felt like I was in Florida. Like the vibe was so different. Not that the food wasn't good, not that the service wasn't good at the restaurants. It just didn't feel like Puerto Rico. So that was at least my experience. But that scene in the bakery has so many metaphors. And George, like you said, when Juan P tells him, seguimos aquí, that hits you. You feel that. Moncho, when you saw that short film, what was your impression? What did you feel? Did it hit home? What was your impression?
Yeah, for me, remember that my background is a little bit different right now. For me, being here in Texas, and when that came out, it's like it's telling me that, hey, it's a reality check. Like, hey, tú eres Boricua, and I'm saying this because I have a son. My son is 14 right now. He mostly speaking English, but my son born in Ponce, Puerto Rico. And sometimes I have to remind him, hey, papá, tú eres Boricua. Hey, tú eres ponceño. Because I try to engrave in him, hey, it's good for you to speak and know English, but you have to keep your Spanish. And most of the times I try to keep that on him. Like, hey, it's good to have the English, but papá, practica el español. So
Yep.
It hits me because at that time, I'm back 1 year ago. I'm starting working here in a new work that I love right now. I'm still working on it. There's a lot of Latinos on it. There's a lot of people that hear Benito that appreciate their music. I'm a metalhead, so everybody knows that. Well, my background is totally different. So I gave the album the opportunity because of the sound that is coming out of the people. Like, hey, you should hear that. Oh my God, that album is so good. I said, you know what? I'm going to hear it. And for my surprise, I was hooked. Not only for the music, because it is a great album, it's well done, but also because of the theme of the album. It's like full dedication of what is in Puerto Rico. Since you see the main phase of the album, it's like, oh, yo puedo estar ahí. I can be there sitting on those chairs, dándome un palito, dándome una taza de café. I could be there. That could be any yard in any house in Puerto
Any
Rico,
backyard,
any
any
backyard.
backyard.
For sure, and that promotes what I know that we most miss. It's like sitting down with our friends, having a cup of coffee, having a beer, just talking, hitting the cookie in the background. So that kind of thing, and it hits me because not of liking the music, but giving the album the opportunity, give me another perspective of, hey, wake up,
Yeah.
that's your music. That's what you grew up. Maybe not the reggaeton on the rap team, but there's salsa, there's plena, there's bomba, there's merengue, there's salsa inside that album. And I think for me, it was like a wake up call, like, Puerto Rico, estoy aquí. And
a lot.
yes, good. Sorry for interrupting. The part when it hits me too, when that interaction with Juanpi and Jacobo. Oh my God, it hits hard because it's like you said, it's like what we pass whenever we visit Puerto Rico again. We say like, this wasn't here. Oh, what happened here? So yeah, it's really something.
Yeah, I mean, it's the timing of the album. I would say it was perfect. The marketing was genius. They
Oh, for sure.
it dropped on Víspera de Reyes. He comes out on all
Yeah,
the social media, and you're already in a good, for Christmas para las Navidades, you're already in a good mood. You're nostalgic.
right,
He drops the album and he drops the short film, and it's freaking magic. And that's a lot for me to say for a reggaetonero, because like I said,
right.
I'm not a fan of the music,
Yeah,
but the album hits. Whether or not you think he's a good singer or not, that's irrelevant, because he's not a good singer. Let's not, no vamos a tapar el cielo con la mano. He's not a good singer, but the guy knows his marketing. He knows what hits. He knows what he likes. And I think the biggest compliment I can give is that he's being sincere with the
right.
album. He's not just trying to
Oh yeah,
sell, because he could have made a lot. Because when the album first comes out, everybody from everywhere else said the album sucks. Esto es una mierda de disco. Esto no
yeah.
sirve.
I remember that.
Until they actually started to listen to what it was about. Then a lot
Yeah,
of people went, okay, my bad. I'm sorry. I understand now. And then they got into it. But people our age, it hits different just because of the nostalgia factor.
right.
And when you start actually listening to the album, not I've seen the short film. Oh my God, sometimes I'm pissed off at work, and I'll put it on and I'll be like, okay, it gives me that good feeling back. But the album is well done.
Oh
The
yeah,
band that he uses for Bomba y Plena, they were relatively unknown. Now everybody knows who they are.
excellent. Yeah,
It's damn, it's just a good album. Now it drops, and it's been a year. George, tú trabajas los medios. You're always working in communications and on TV, and you're always looking at how things are going. What's been the cultural impact 1 year later that has helped Puerto Rico in the public eye? How did the album help that?
Well, you have to add to that the whole residencia, the residence, right? The 30
Yeah.
concerts, 30 dates concert that
The 31 concerts, because he added one at the end.
he did here. So
right.
it's one thing is tied to the other. Now, I wanted to add to the context that I was talking about, and adding to what you were saying, that in Puerto Rico we have like 4 extra days of holidays. Sorry for say that. This Tricking Day, which is today, and then on the 7th we kind of go back to normal. But we also have the party, the San Sebastian, the how do you say that? The festival, the parties of the San Sebastian Street in the old San Juan, which is considered for a lot of people like, okay, this is the end of the holiday, the actual holiday. This is the end of the actual Christmas. So he drops the album right after the election. A lot of people feeling down about the results. He drops on the Three Kings. We're feeling like the Christmas time is ending, but he drops the album, and you know what? No, we're going to party a little bit more. And then we're going to listen to it, because this is the album this is going to be the theme of the Fiesta de la San Sebastián, which is exactly what happened. So I don't know if you remember this, but those fiestas, like that edition of the San Sebastián party, that was the highest attendance. And it felt like a huge party, like people felt so, ¿cómo se dice? Como animado, like upbeat, like
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
right
Yeah.
up. So that was amazing in that sense. And for after a year later, after having that time, and then of course the residence that we have a historic year, thanks to that album and to Bad Bunny and those 31 concerts, So 1 year after, the album feels extremely real and relevant right now. Like everything that it talks about, I think it's gonna be the kind of album that just stays forever.
It's gonna stand. It's gonna stand the test of time.
Yeah, it's gonna stand.
No,
The
for
test.
sure.
You can listen today and you can feel the same thing that you felt a year ago. It's still, you get still those, because a lot of it is nostalgia, but it also is desire for that kind of country. Like you remember being in your grandfather's house or your father's, or doing things with your family, with your childhood friends, with your young times. But he also gives you a sense that, what, this is the kind of life and country that we want. It's not only what we had, it's also what we want and we deserve. So one
Right.
year after, after listening, a lot of people listen to it a lot. And I think what remains is the feeling, that sense of we have to reclaim what is ours, not only on the physical, on the literal sense, but also in the spiritual and the pride thing.
How much revenue they were saying that the residence was going to generate $200 million in revenue. I think it got up to like $6 or $7 million of extra revenue to the island. And he opens the concert, the first concert, he has LeBron James as a guest in La Casita.
Yeah.
You don't see that. It's like, geez. And then every time there was a new show, you wanted to see ¿Quién está en la casa? We had actresses, we had Daphne Keane, we had everybody was in the freaking house. You know what I'm saying? George, you went to the concert and you saw the show on Amazon that also broke records. I know watching it in live is like a wrestling show. You can watch the best wrestling show on the pay-per-view, but it's not the same as you being there. George, how was that vibe when you're in your Choliseo? Because I know when you're there, it's totally different. The experience is totally different. You're on mute, but you're on mute, brother.
Mira, I have to say that the way they set it up, because around the Coliseo, around the Coliseum, they establish a lot of small places, como se dice, puestitos, like small places for food, for drinking. A lot of agencies, a lot of brands, they establish their own places there. So it felt like, from even before you go there, like it felt like this huge fiesta patronal. I don't know how you say that in Spanish or in English.
Si eres de la isla, you know what a fiesta patronal is.
Yeah, fiesta patronal. Like it was some kind of country fair. I think is the closest thing to anyone that is listening in English. There was this county fair.
Festival. Yeah.
Festival.
That's a festival.
Yeah. So you could go there and have a great time without going to the concert. So even that, so it was set it up like that. Now, once you go into the place, they set it up so you can go to different stations that celebrate Puerto Rico, right? And then you go into the concert. And let me say that this is one of the greatest concerts I've seen and I've been on my life. And before I continue, let me tell you that I'm not a Bad Bunny fan in the sense that I heard all of his albums. I haven't heard all of his albums. I don't know a single song. Like I couldn't sing a single song by memory. And I'm not really that into, music in general. Like I'm not a really music guy, but still, I really wanted to go because I knew it was going to be something special. It was something unique and historic. I want to be part of it. I want to be there. I wanted to have this chance to talk about it, to experience it, to remember. I want to have those memories in my mind. And exactly what I did, man. And I gotta tell you, it was something amazing because they put on the roof. It was a whole experience, and I don't know how the fuck they did that. They had two main stages, right? They had La Casita, the house, but they also have the main stage, and they set it up like it was a mountain.
El campo, right? El campo.
Mist.
Yeah.
It even had mist, man. And in that mountain, they have different places, in the top, in the middle, down. And they had this whole theater feeling vibe thing doing. And then he went to La Casita and had the party there which is supposed to be like a party de marquesina, like which a lot of us grew up like when you do at the party in your house, which is something that is kind of getting away from us also, because a lot of houses do no longer have a marquesina, which is
right.
like in most houses in Puerto Rico have a space in which maybe you put it it's supposed to be for your car, but a lot of people just made it another room in the house and they only have a gate and everybody can walk in front could say it. So they call it Pares de Marquesina because that was the place where whenever you brought people to your house, that's the place where everybody goes, right? Everybody stays there. So that was the concept of La Casita. I mean, the vibe, man. I mean, the set, it was amazing. The music was amazing, like sound music, but it was the vibe, brother. It was like everybody was there to have a great time. Everybody was there to feel good. I think that's the best way I can describe it. Everybody went there to have a good time and feel good. And I'm going to say it again because this is the important part. People went there to feel good. Feel good about listening to the music they love. Feel good about being so Puerto Rico. Like, this is so fucking Puerto Rico. Feel good about who we are. Feel good about about being there together. It just, people were happy to be there. Like, people were smiling, and that's a vibe that you don't really see a lot anywhere else, even here in Puerto Rico. Like, people wanted to feel good and they felt good just by being there, man. That's the highest thing I can say about that show.
Moncho, you're the music guy. Why is this conversation so important 1 year later that we're having? That it's necessary, and we need to remind ourselves just how important this album experience revolution is. Why is this conversation important to you?
I think it vibrates along with what our idiosyncrasy is right now for us as Puerto Ricans, but not only for Puerto Ricans and for Latinos in general, but it gives you that sense of home. It gives you that essence of music. It gives you that vibration of, like George was talking about, having fun, celebrate, uh, have fun with your roots, because every part of Puerto Rican music is there in that album. So it touches magic. I think magically, like a painting, all those colors of music throughout the years, and he recognizes in the album that without all those tones, all those music celebration, it will be no Bad Bunny. So I think for him, it's a celebration of its roots, but it's also a celebration of his music. It's relevant right now because of the Latino culture, because of our culture, and because it's resonant, and he's still on tour right now. I'm not sure if he's in Mexico right now, but he's touring with Debí Tirar Más Fotos, the concert, without changing anything. Mexicans are singing the album. Latino Americans are singing the album. Everywhere he goes, the people know the songs. He's having fun. The same thing, same concept. So it's still relevant, and it will be relevant for a long, long time.
You know how YouTube gives you your year in review or your recap or whatever, and
Right.
My most played, because sometimes in the car I'll just put YouTube and I'll listen to music through YouTube, and I won't do like Spotify or whatever. It said that my most played video was Baile Inolvidable. I was like, damn,
Nice.
are you serious? Are you?
Nice.
That's the thing I listened the most. Never in a million years I would have thought Bad Bunny would be my most played song in any year.
Eh?
And I think he is this is, whether you agree with me or not, it doesn't matter. I think he's pissing off the right people.
Oh, yes.
He is pissing off the right people because if you don't want to understand what this actually is, then there's a problem. Especially here in the United States. We live in Moncho and me, we live here in Texas.
Right.
So we see it, and it's very important that you do. If you come from any country and you come to live in the States, it's okay for you to assimilate. Don't forget where you came from. Don't forget who you are. Don't forget what brought you to where you are today. Because even when I first moved here 15 years ago, when I was wrestling here by myself, the only thing I had was the Puerto Rican flag. That set me apart from everybody else that was wrestling here in Texas. And not only did it set me apart, I had to prove, hey, I'm the only one that's like this. I needed to prove I was good. And I was pretty damn good. And I was very proud to wear that flag on my jacket. And it's not easy to be the only Puerto Rican in an event full of Mexicans. And then with time, you had the Mexicans cheering for the Puerto Rican. That is not easy to do. And I did it. And it was a feeling that, wow, they're accepting me, and I wore my colors with pride, and I had to, because it was later on I realized how important it was for me to represent. Yo soy Boricua, I need to do a good job, because they say, that freaking Puerto Rican, he's no good. No, they're like, hey, that Puerto Rican. Matter of fact, there was another wrestler that came on later on, tried to do the same gimmick with the colors, and the crowd started chanting, "You're not Dagger. You're not Dagger." So I was like, ooh, it's you kind of feel bad for the guy, but you want to feel good for yourself. And it's just that pride that we all have with our flag. Now, going back to him pissing off the right people, he's got a big show coming up in February. He's got the Super Bowl. Oh, yeah. And I am very curious to see what happens in that show. I want to see what he does. I want to see if he brings up any social, political problems that are arising. Is he going to use that platform for that? I think there's a potential for this to be the most watched Super Bowl halftime show of all time. Just because of the exposure and the social media, and more people have the chance to watch it, even if it's out of curiosity. I think there is a big, I don't know if he'll do it or not, but the potential is there for him to steal that show, honestly.
Yeah,
George,
remember that this is not his first time on that stage. This will be his second time on that stage. He prior participated, I believe it was with J-Lo, that he was part of that stage. So he knows what he's. I know that he knows what he's capable of, and I know for sure that he's prepared for that show. But also, I know that he already acknowledged where he's stepping into as a stage. So I think it will be really fun to see, and she's gonna shout a couple of mouths over there. He's gonna be like, ¿qué decías ahora? Dime ahora. Because there's a lot of people talking shit about, oh man, why is he, man? And hey, again, I'm a metalhead, and there's some people throwing around like, hey, what is not Metallica there? Hey, what is another group? What is not that another group playing? No, it's Benito's time. Give him a chance. It's gonna be our time right now.
It's Benito's time, and country is not as big as people think it is. It's big here. It is, especially in the south of the states. It's big, but you can't. When you look at the numbers, Benito is producing on Spotify and all the streaming. It's ridiculous, and it's a smart move, and the NFL is willing to take that chance for that exposure. They're going to give him that platform, and I just want to see what happens. George, tú cubre los medios. You're always looking at what's going on with pop culture, and you're looking at the entertainment and all that. You have your hands in it. What do you think this is going to be? What do you think is going to happen? Is it you think he'll break that record? You think what do you think is going to happen with him at the Super Bowl? Está muteado, papá. You're muted. Hold on. Did we lose George? There he is.
Sí, es que tuve que
There you go.
se
Oh, it's all right.
salir y entrar. Well, about the question, man, I think it's gonna be huge here in Puerto Rico, and I think it's gonna be huge for they gave them free promotion, man. I mean, like every year they announce who the halftime is gonna be and halftime performer is gonna be, and there's always people that complain. There's always people that celebrate. You know, usually this year has been bigger. You know, the complainers have been louder than usual because there's a political context and the whole thing that he's a Latino and he's probably going to perform in Spanish. He already said that he's going to perform in Spanish. So a lot of people were like, oh, man, blah, 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 blah. So it's going to be huge. I think it's going to, that week, here in Puerto Rico, and everybody's Puerto Rican, is going to stop it. I anticipate a stoppage to the level when Tito would fight. Remember when Tito would fight?
Yes.
The whole island would shut down. Nothing would
shut down.
Right.
Everything's going to shut down that day here. And I don't know, man, if you want to rob a bank here in Puerto Rico, that's a good time right now because everybody, the whole country's going to shut down and everybody who's Puerto Rican, they're going to shut down because they're going to, and Latinos too, you know, Bad Bunny is really, but also you add to that the fact that they have politicized something that shouldn't be political, you know, like another halftime performance, you know what? Oh, this is going to be in Spanish. 15 minutes, you know, nobody really, it's not people that usually don't care about the halftime performing, you know, just people that are going to watch the game, they don't care who's the halftime performer. And the thing happens in reverse. People that watch the Super Bowl because of the ads or because of the halftime performing, they don't care about the game. But this year, I think both of those demographics are gonna crash, are gonna join together to see what's gonna happen. So there's a lot of curiosity about that. But this is something that happened on internet. And I don't know if this is something I don't know if there's gonna be an effect, but this is something that happened when they announced Bad Bunny and the couple of weeks after, the internet kind of band together, especially against those who complain. And you got the black Twitter, black TikTok especially, like they really got into it. Like, yeah, we're happy. We're going to watch him. Like, you know, they saw the racists and they saw the all those guys whining, complain, and they say, yeah, we're gonna use this to just like we're gonna put this bothers you, so we're gonna love it and we're gonna run with it.
We're gonna learn the Spanish,
a Latino TikTok, and let me say, you know, a lot of white people too. Like
I mean, it's not everybody. It's not everybody.
TikTok, you know, white TikTok, they're really into it. They're really having a good time with it. We've seen the videos, we've seen all that went viral with it, so. It's gonna be a lot of fun that day. It's gonna be a really fun watching it and the reaction on the internet. So I think it's gonna be a huge halftime, and I anticipate huge numbers too, just like you said.
I think the whole issue with this thing is that lo que encojona, what pisses me off is the ignorance that you see, the blatant ignorance. How come we don't have an American playing at the halftime show? You guys didn't pay attention in social studies, did you? You know, we Puerto Rican, we are American citizens. We identify as Boricua first and foremost, but we are American citizens. And that whole
let me stop you right there, because I know what you I know what you mean, and I'm with you and I agree. But I think that has something to say more about the education system in general.
Absolutely.
Because here in Puerto Rico, they don't really taught you about the other territories. Like I started learning about Guam, about American Samoa, about U.S. Virgin Islands, about the Northern Mariana Island after I'm in college, you know, and even there, like they didn't really talk a lot about that. Like you don't know about the other territories that they are other territories like Puerto Rico that are part of we are property of but not part of the United States.
Mm-hmm. So
they don't really like. Do you know about Guam? Do you know about American Samoa? Do you know about Northern Mariana Island? U.S. Virgin Islands. U.S. Virgin Islands is like 30 minutes away, man. They don't really. They don't really show they don't really taught you how do you, ¿cómo te dicen? No te enseñan de eso.
Yeah,
like,
no, I'm saying they don't teach it. That it's not
they don't
because
teach
it's
you
not.
about that. They don't teach you. And we're here in Puerto Rico, and we're 30 minutes away with those guys. We don't really know much about them. So to a certain level, I don't blame them for not knowing Puerto Rico is a part of the United States. I don't blame them. They should do the research. It's like a quick research. Like, oh, Google, where's Puerto Rico? Or ChatGPT, or whatever the fuck there are people are using these days. Where is Puerto Rico? Oh, Puerto Rico's a part of this. Okay, well, that's it. The conversation is over. So yeah, I get what you're saying, but I wanted to add that to be fair, a lot of people wouldn't know about Puerto Rico because we in Puerto Rico we didn't know a lot about the other territories for started. But yeah, quick Google search should
5 seconds.
Yeah.
And the thing is, and I understand the education system here is not the best. Trust me. But when I first moved here and I was looking for opportunities and help, and I would go to these agencies for direction, I would tell them, oh, where you from? I go, I'm moving from Puerto Rico. And the people working in these government agencies asked me for a green card. If you're working in the agency, you should know what territories have U.S. citizenship and don't. So sometimes it is the system, but at the same time, ignorance is a choice. You can look it up and you can learn. Now, if you don't want to learn, that's something else. And I think a lot of people just don't want to learn because it's going to affect what they know and it's going to change what they believe in. And you have to take that risk to look for information that just might change your opinion or your belief in what you actually think is true or not. And I learned this as I've gotten older. I'm 47. That's why it's called the Boricua Midlife Chronicles. As we learn and we get older, we learn shit. No sabemos todo y siempre estamos aprendiendo. So it's ignorant. That's why I didn't say stupid. I say ignorance. Porque ignorance has a cure. You can learn. Now, if you're stupid and dumb, that's something else. That's a choice. But you can go and learn. And it's a sad situation. But again, it's a minority, but it's a very loud minority. And I think that's the thing that's actually like, because it's not everybody. I know I've lived here for 15 years. I've had more good experiences than bad with people here. So it's not something, at least here. Remember, Texas is a very Hispanic influenced state, especially the further south you go. San Antonio is right in the middle. Moncho lives a little bit more north. So we get both sides of what it's like. So again, it's there, but it's really a minority, but that minority is very loud, unfortunately. Man, this album, and again, I can actually say, even though I'm not a huge fan of his other music, I can say I respect Benito. He's earned my respect with what he's done. The problems that he has brought to the limelight so that everybody can see what's going on. He received a lot of criticism for Lo que pasó en Hawaii, for that song, because people are saying, no, that's not going to happen. Ask people who are living over there. It's people are not understanding that what's being lost is the culture, and people don't want to lose that culture, and it's being forced out. And there are parts in Puerto Rico, like George said, George still lives in Puerto Rico, that it's losing that culture, that feeling of being from the island. Sometimes, like George said, you can go. What place specifically have you gone to in Puerto Rico that you felt like that, George?
Where I went to the west. If you go to the west, especially some places like Rincon or Aguadilla, it's still Puerto Rico, but you go to some places, especially the touristy places, and I kind of feel like the vibe's not the same. If you go to Mayagüez or Rincon, there are the places that the vibe is different. And here, of course, I don't want to sound like I'm rejecting, immigration or something like that. But, I go to the gym, which is really close from here, and you start listening and you start seeing, some people that wouldn't be here, like maybe 5-10 years ago, they are here now. I mean, it's still Puerto Rico, but, you can feel the influence changing a little bit. So that's kind of, but yeah, you go to the west and there's some part that you actually have to ask for Spanish because they're actually serving people. Like you go to a place and if you go to a tourist spot, it's okay, it's normal.
Yeah.
If you go to a store in the town and they speaking to you in English, like what happened here? This is kind of weird. It feels weird.
Yeah, when I went to Aguadilla, I thank God I didn't run into anything like that. At least where I went. So I passed by Crash Boat and I passed by Rompeola, and then they have La Placita there. La Placita, the places that I stopped in, I didn't get that vibe. Maybe if I would have kept walking, I would have. I didn't get that vibe. But this album, man, at least with me, I was at a very vulnerable point where I just had gotten back from Puerto Rico from burying my mom, and we, going back to the island, and you see as you grow up, you start to notice that you become the people you miss from your family, like all your uncles and your grandfathers. You begin to take that place. And I remember looking on Christmas Eve where I started to remember all the times I would play with con los primos and my cousins, and I'm looking around and we all have kids and we're all old and we're all not talking about Star Wars. We're talking about, hey, what medication are you taking? Oh, I'm taking this and I'm taking that. Oh yeah, my back hurts. What do you do? Oh, I stretch like this. So it's very nostalgic, and it's like, you know what? I should have taken more pictures. And I'm not saying with the phone. I mean, take the picture with the phone and then go have them developed, because you never know when you're gonna lose that file or something's gonna happen. So I this whole year I have a picture of us from Moncho's wedding that we're all together. I have it right on my desk,
right?
Because it's there, man. Because these are moments you're not gonna get back, and I think that's the whole thing. That's the message of the album. Take those pictures, live life. Don't just stream. Don't be at a concert and look at the concert through the phone. Experience it. Go through it. So it's any final thoughts for the album, Moncho?
I think for me, the essence of the album is that hey, remember that our parents came with the camera and they were always like una grabación o un party, nene, párate ahí, vamos a tirarte una foto, y uno estaba como, ay, otra vez una foto, ay, bendito. And now we just miss that. We just miss the 35 millimeters taken to Walgreens to get all those 35 pictures, or I remember it was 30 or 35 pictures that comes in the film. And it's that essence that, oh man, there's so much happening that it didn't have an actual, like you said, an actual picture of the event. Something to grasp, something to remember, that I shouldn't went away without taking that last picture. And I think the album will remain, like I said, relevant for many years to come. And the essence is there. And this Christmas I did something that I really like. I shared with my family and everything, and I gave as a gift a camera, an actual camera. So and that's something that it's something that you have the pictures on your phone, but it's something that it's a different vibe. When you take that picture with a camera and you see the picture, it's something different there. So I would promote that more, to give away more cameras and to take the pictures of because every day is something different. Remember when we share with friends, we share with family in an event, or maybe just on a daily basis, take that picture. It will give you a big surprise whenever you see that picture and you say, oh man, I remember that. And I still have some picture with us, and long time ago, back in college, and I say, whoa, those were the days. Sadly, it's a less picture than I would love to have more pictures to it. So yeah.
Yeah. George, final thoughts on the album and what it's meant to you.
I mean, besides everything that we talk about, El Debí Tomar Más Fotos. I should take more pictures. Just like Moncho said, that's a song that talks about relationships, but it applies to everything, man. It applies to friendships, applies to family, it applies to, yeah, sure, relationships, but it applies to so many things. And Debí Tomar Más Fotos from that trip that you went to, that place that you love, to the people that you love, everything. So I think it's an album that's gonna stay stay. How do you say? Como stay the try of time. ¿Cómo que lo dijiste?
Stand the test of time.
Stand the test of time. Thank you. I think it's gonna be an album that's we're still gonna be listening to in 10 years. I think it's a really, really high point of being Puerto Rico and being in Puerto Rico and being Puerto Rican. But I think there's a universal feeling of learning to enjoy the time that you have at the time that you're spending. Right now we're not gonna be as young as we are right now. Your kids are not gonna have the same age that they have right now. Your friendship, your partner, whatever it is, and just enjoy as much as you want and take as much picture as you can. Remember, please believe me when I say that those pictures are worth gold in the future when that people are no longer there or that place is no longer there. Believe me when I say it. So take more pictures.
Yep. Take the pictures and value them, because I lost my mother July 2024. And the last picture I took with her was at my son's birthday party in February. So I went months that I didn't take a picture with my mom. We forgot to take pictures on her last Mother's Day. From my last birthday, you guys were there, and she took a picture with all of us. I have that picture still. It's those are moments we're never gonna get back, and the older we get, the less moments we're gonna have. We're at an age, again, name of the show, Midlife Chronicles. We have more years behind us than in front of us, unfortunately. That's just the average. So we got to make them count, and not only take the pictures but help make memories for other people. So Benito, gracias por el disco, great album. Sigue metiendo mano. I don't know if I'm gonna like your next album as much, but at least this one I can say it's one of the it hits different. It hits different. So Benito, gracias. And that is the conclusion of our first episode of the Boricua Midlife Chronicles, muchacho. Gracias un millón. Moncho, where can everybody find you on social media?
Please find me in Las Quixote on Instagram, and also find me in a music revelation that I'm working on with Music Calaveras, Facebook and Instagram. It's gonna be a whole new show for you guys. Thank you for everything, man.
Estamos esperándolo. George, you have a long list. Where can people find you?
Well, you can just look at El George Rivera Rubio. You have to put the whole name, El George Rivera Rubio, on Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, YouTube, all those things. My podcast in Spanish about popular culture is Legalmente Nerd. I have another podcast which is more for interviews on YouTube. You can find me there. And finally, Siempre Lunes, which is a podcast about, it's a comedy podcast. We just talk about things of the week, but it's in Spanish too.
No, and it's one of the top podcasts in Puerto Rico. So
thank you.
Look him up. And his Legalmente Nerd, I sometimes pop up, but even when I'm not on, I listen to it because the stuff that they talk about, very, very, very good perspective. You can find me, Kevin Dagger PR, or the Midlife Boricua Chronicles, or if you like wrestling content in Spanish, you can look me up at Kevin Dagger Wrestling. Así que, mi gente, gracias un millón. Thank you for listening to the Boricua Midlife Chronicles. Real conversations. Life is just a movie. We just review it. No script, just Boricua perspective. Gracias. Se me cuidan. See you in the next one. Peace out. Later.